There are stings that hurt. There are stings that kill. And then there's this, a sting that doesn't do either, but does something worse. It takes away your will, your mind, your ability to want anything, and it leaves you alive to experience it. This is the emerald cockroach wasp, beautiful, with metallic green and blue coloring that looks almost decorative and delicate. But what it does is anything but. This wasp doesn't hunt for food. It hunts for a nursery, a living incubator. It doesn't need the victim to be dead. It needs it to be alive and conscious, but empty. This is the only sting where evolution went pure evil. The emerald cockroach wasp is small, about an inch long, but the cockroach it hunts is bigger, heavier, and stronger. In a fair fight, the cockroach would win. It could run, it could fight back. It has mandibles that could crush the wasp and legs that could kick it away. But this isn't a fight. This is surgery, and the wasp is the surgeon. Her goal is simple: reproduction. Like all parasitic wasps, she needs a host for her offspring, something her larva can feed on as it develops. But unlike most parasitic wasps that paralyze their victims completely, she needs something more sophisticated, because her larva takes weeks to mature, and dead tissue rots. So why cockroaches? Because they're perfect. They're large enough to provide substantial nutrition, abundant in the environments where these wasps live, and most importantly, they're resilient. Cockroaches can survive for days or even weeks with minimal food and in harsh conditions, which means they'll stay fresh and alive for as long as the larva needs them. And the venom? It's not like other venoms. Most insect venoms are designed to kill or cause pain. Neurotoxins that shut down the nervous system, or cytotoxins that destroy tissue. But the emerald cockroach wasp's venom is surgical. It contains a complex cocktail of chemicals, including neurotransmitter blockers and neuromodulators that don't destroy the cockroach's brain, but reprogram it. It's precision medicine, evolved over millions of years to do one thing perfectly: remove resistance without causing death. She finds her target and then approaches carefully. The first sting happens fast as the wasp lunges and drives her stinger into the cockroach's thorax, the middle section of its body where the legs attach. It's not random. She's aiming for a specific cluster of nerve cells, a ganglion that controls the front legs. The venom flows, and within seconds, the cockroach's front legs stop working. Not permanently, just long enough. The paralysis is temporary and targeted. The front legs go limp, and the cockroach stumbles. It can still move its back legs. It can still feel everything. It's still fully conscious. But it can't run, can't fight, can't do anything but wait. And here's the thing. The wasp could kill it right here with one sting to the brain, one dose of lethal venom, and it would be done. But she doesn't, because dead cockroaches rot. They decompose, they spoil, and rotting meat is no good for a developing larva. She needs it fresh, she needs it alive, she needs it functional. So she doesn't kill, she prepares. The cockroach is still aware, still processing what's happening. Its brain is firing, its nerves are sending signals. It knows something is wrong, it knows it should escape, but its body won't cooperate. And worse, something else is coming. The wasp moves to the cockroach's head because she's not done. The first sting was just the setup, and this is the one that matters. She positions herself carefully as her stinger slides through the thin membrane at the back of the cockroach's neck, through the exoskeleton, past the tissue, and directly into the brain. The venom doesn't kill the neurons, and it doesn't destroy them. It does something more subtle, more surgical. It blocks dopamine receptors. Dopamine is the chemical that drives motivation, the need to eat, the need to escape danger, the need to survive. It's what makes you want things, what makes you care about staying alive. And the wasp's venom shuts it down. The cockroach doesn't lose the ability to move, and it doesn't lose the ability to think. It loses the ability to want. The escape reflex, the fundamental primal urge to run from danger, just stops. The cockroach is still there, fully aware and fully functional, but the part of it that wants to survive is gone, erased. And now the wasp does something even more disturbing. She grabs one of the cockroach's antennae, long and thin like a leash, and she starts walking, pulling gently and leading the way. And the cockroach follows. Not because it's being dragged and not because it's physically forced. It follows because the wasp is pulling, and it has no reason not to. No desire to resist, no will to fight back. Think about that. It just follows obediently, like a dog on a leash. The wasp leads it across the ground, sometimes several meters, taking it to a burrow, a small hole she dug earlier that's dark, enclosed, and safe from predators. She walks the cockroach inside, and it doesn't hesitate, doesn't resist, just walks into its own tomb. And then she lays an egg, a single small white egg, barely visible on the cockroach's leg. And then she leaves, sealing the entrance with dirt and debris before walking away. The cockroach is alone now in the dark with an egg on its leg that will kill it, and it does nothing. It doesn't try to remove the egg, doesn't try to escape, doesn't even try to leave the burrow. It just sits there grooming itself occasionally and moving a little, but never leaving, because it doesn't want to. 3 days later, the egg hatches and a tiny pale soft larva emerges, helpless on its own, but not needing to be strong because its food can't run. The larva chews through the cockroach's exoskeleton, burrows into its abdomen, and starts eating. It consumes anything it can without killing the host because it needs the cockroach alive. Fresh meat spoils, but fresh meat that keeps growing and functioning provides more food, so the longer the cockroach lives, the more there is to eat. So the larva eats carefully, avoiding organs it doesn't need yet, and keeping the heart beating and the brain firing. On the 8th day, the larva has eaten everything non-essential and has grown strong enough that it doesn't need the cockroach alive anymore. So it eats the vital organs, the heart, the brain, the last bits of tissue, keeping the cockroach functional. And the cockroach dies, finally. The larva spins a cocoon inside the hollowed-out shell and pupates, transforming over the following weeks until an adult wasp emerges, breaks through the exoskeleton, and crawls out into the light. Metallic green and blue, beautiful, ready to do it all over again. But to show you why this is truly pure evil, let's compare it to the tarantula hawk wasp, the one with the most painful sting in the world. It causes blinding, screaming agony for 3 minutes, but then it's over and you survive and heal, and the pain ends. But this wasp doesn't cause pain. The venom is painless, and the sting doesn't even hurt, and it doesn't kill, not immediately. It does something worse by taking away the thing that makes you want to live. Pain you can endure, you fight through it, you survive it, and it ends. Death is final and quick in the scheme of things. You're here, and then you're not. But losing your will? Being alive and not caring that you're being eaten? Watching your own body be consumed and feeling nothing? There's no word for that. No human experience that compares. If that's not evil, I don't know what is. And here's the thing. Evolution doesn't care about evil. It doesn't care about suffering, and it doesn't have morals. From an evolutionary standpoint, it's brilliant and even elegant. But from any other standpoint, it's a horror show. The removal of autonomy, the deletion of will, the violation of the most fundamental drive any living thing has, which is the desire to stay alive. Nature doesn't have a concept of evil, but we do. And if anything in the natural world deserves that word, it's this. A sting that doesn't kill, doesn't torture, but just removes the part of you that wants to keep living and leaves you there, alive and aware but empty. The emerald cockroach wasp proves that evolution doesn't care about suffering. But the cockroach isn't the only insect that dies in ways that seem designed to be as brutal as possible. Honeybees, for example, don't die from predators. They die from their own defense mechanism. One sting, and something absolutely brutal happens. They knew it would kill them, and they did it anyway. If you want to see why honeybees choose to die this way, check out my latest video right here. And trust me, it's not what you expect.